Okay, so we can begin. We're holding Perek Mem, chapter 40, Tehilim, Psalms. This is a very different kind of chapter than what we've done till now. David HaMelech, in the past few chapters, described a lot of his pain and suffering, a lot of what he went through, the troubles he had in life, the many challenges and struggles. In Perek Mem, in this chapter, David HaMelech begins to breathe. He begins to thank Hashem. He begins to share with us the miracles that he experienced and to teach us how wonderful it is to trust in him and how it's not such a good idea to put your trust in human beings, even if they are in high places, even if they're wealthy. Lamnatzeach le David Mizmor. So he begins with a psalm, a song for the conductor. Now we saw in chapter 3 that there's a difference between when he says Lamnatzeach Mizmor le David, or if it's Lamnatzeach le David Mizmor, depending on if David, his name comes before the word Mizmor or after. Here it implies that he was divinely inspired. He had Ruach HaKodesh, Sharta Halav HaShekhinah, and then he was able to compose the song, the psalm. Whereas when it says Lamnatzeach Mizmor le David, he began to sing. He began to elevate his mood, his spirits, and as a result of that, of being happy, he began to say or to see things that are divinely inspired. So either the Shekhinah came about first, and then he was able to compose, or he began to sing, and as a result of this song and praise to Hashem, he was divinely inspired. So he's saying here how I put my hope in Hashem. And he turned to me, and he heard me. He heard my cry. Kavo kiviti, this is the key. I put my trust in him. I relied on him. What does that mean? Even though I do not have enough deeds, perhaps, I do not have enough merits to deserve all the great miracles that he has performed with me. The kavo kiviti alone, we have a tradition that if one has bitachon b'Hashem, if one, all he has is complete trust and relies in God, even though he doesn't really deserve it, he doesn't have many merits to his name, the bitachon itself, the trust in God alone, that in itself is a big merit. That is a tremendous deed in itself. That is to his credit that he has bitachon. And therefore, through bitachon itself, through reliance in Hashem, one can accomplish a lot. One can accomplish a great deal. Imagine prayer. Prayer is very powerful. If one continuously prays to God, at some point, perhaps Hashem will listen to him. Bitachon, if it's true and if it's sincere, it's like a type of prayer. It's basically a connection. One is connected to God in a very powerful way, and that in itself can bring about tremendous salvation for him. And that is what Yeshaya also says. V'amar bayom hahu hinei Elokim zeh kivinu lo v'yoshi'enu. Prophet speaking about the end of days, he will describe how many people will be overjoyed that their trust was not in vain, that they trusted in God, that it was correct for them to do so. They will be able to point to that. You see, I was right. He didn't let me down. In other words, even if the Jewish nation, that's all they have, is the trust, that will be a tremendous zechut, tremendous merit for them to be redeemed from the galut, from the diaspora. There are many, many pesukim that you will notice when you study Tehilim and the prophets that put an emphasis on this very strong connection called bitachon. Not just plain emunah, not just faith, but to trust in him at all times. As a result, therefore, of my trust in him, he turned to me, he listened to my cry. And what happened? Vayaleni mibor sha'on mitit hayaven. These are a little bit difficult words to understand. What does it mean? He took me out, or he raised me from a bor sha'on. Bor is a pit, but what is a bor sha'on? So some say that this is a turbulent bor, a turbulent pit. It's a description of very turbulent times that he was in. Stormy times. But it's in a bor, it's in a deep pit, which describes a situation where one says, I don't see how I'm going to get out of this. And it's sha'on, it's turbulent. A lot is going down there. A lot is going on down there. Mitit hayaven. This is mud, but not just any ordinary mud. This is the mud that you find at the bottom of the seas. Also, a difficult situation to come out of. From the depths, from being stuck in the mud. Nonetheless, even though I was down there, way below, Vayakem al sela raglai konen ashurai. He set up my feet. He set me straight. He set my feet on a rock, and he steadied ashurai, my steps. So even though I was in a difficult predicament, even though I was in a situation which was very difficult, tight spot to come out of, nonetheless, he took me out of there. An important lesson for those who are in a very, very tight situation, that they think that there's no hope. There is hope. And David HaMelech is sharing with us all his experiences to relate to every single one. There are many, many types of problems, and you can find them in this book. David pretty much describes them all. Whether it's a sickness, or whether it's an enemy, whether it's battle, poverty, physical pain, and some people almost are ready to give up hope. David HaMelech says there's no reason to give up hope. Kavo kiviti, if you hope and trust in Hashem, there's a chance that you can come out of it, even though everybody else gave up hope on you. And this is what happened. He was taken out and put on a rock. A rock is a steady place where there's no fear anymore of falling off. Vayiten befi shir chadash tehila lelohenu, and Hashem gave me, or put into my mouth, a new song. What does a new song mean? As a result of his situation, if you recall in the past perek, he was quiet. He didn't want to talk about his pain. He didn't want to complain, obviously not. But now he says, I have reason to talk. I have reason to sing. I have reason to praise Hashem. I have reason to share with you and teach you. I'm not going to keep quiet. So Hashem put a new song in my mouth. And this song has to do with the fact of how he went through so much, and nonetheless he came out of it. Therefore, take it from me, he says. I was in that situation. Even though I may have committed a wrong, I did teshuvah, I repented, and Hashem accepted it. Even though I was troubled by many, many problems, and I was in danger, I came out. So this is a shir chadash that you may not have heard. This is a new song. And I'm going to share with you that song, because it was my personal experience. It wasn't my experience of someone else that I saw or that I heard of. It is something that I myself experienced. And this is a very important idea that David HaMelech says, that he wants to share with us what he went through and how Hashem accepted his prayers, because there's another verse that says that Hashem does not wish for the wicked to die. He would rather them do teshuvah, so they could live. So we see this concept in various places in Tanakh, that there's no reason to despair. Oh, it's just too late for me, or I'm too old, or it's beyond repair. No such thing. Regardless of the situation, one can always do teshuvah. Hashem always accepts teshuvah, repentance. And therefore, this is a very good testimony to that, what David HaMelech went through. So, Vayiten befi shir chadash, he put a new song into my mouth, Tehilah lelohenu, a praise to our God, Yir'u rabim ve'irau, so the many, the multitudes, should see ve'irau, and they should fear, ve'iftechu b'Adonai, and they should put their trust in God as well, just like he did. So this should serve as an example for them. The following pasuk is a very well-known pasuk, especially the first half, where he describes once again how fortunate is the individual who had faith in God. and not in others. אשרי הגבר אשר שם אדוני מבטחו ולא פנה אל רהבים ושתי חזב. So fortunate is the man who put his faith in God, or his trust, I should say, and did not turn to those who are rehavim, haughty, arrogant. People who are wealthy or in high places, people in power, are called rehavim. Or satei kazav, those who stray, who are misled by falsehood. In other words, they're not real. A lot of people promise, but they don't deliver. So as it is, we're told, be careful not to put your trust in human beings, because even if he's someone that can deliver, he's someone that you can trust, who says he's going to be around tomorrow? He's only human. So Asher Gever Shesam Hashem Miftacho. Fortunate is an individual who knows, hopefully early in his life, not too late, to put his trust in Hashem alone. Now, does that mean that you cannot ask for favors from other people? Does that mean that you should not make any efforts whatsoever to improve your situation in a natural way besides trusting God? Obviously not. You should still do that. It's appropriate, correct, and advisable. I mean, to try anything you can. That's called in Hebrew hishtadlut.
That's Yosef.
Yeah, well, no. Well, I'm going to get to Yosef in a moment. So it's normal. It's acceptable. The rabbis tell us, you can't just sit at home and wait for your livelihood to come knocking at your door. You can't say, well, if I'm not feeling well, I'm not going to the doctor, let God cure me here. We're not on that level. Even though technically or theoretically, that is possible. If somebody's on a high level of bitachon trust, he can say that. I have no doubts that Hashem will help me wherever I am. But most people are not like that. So it is correct and quite normal to do hishtadlut, to make an effort to go and search for a job by preparing a resume, by going for an interview, doing whatever it takes. That's called hishtadlut effort. But to trust in Him. So you should not be disappointed if you don't get the job. You should not feel bad if things didn't go the way you wanted it. Put your trust in Him as far as the outcome too. Not just, well, if He wants me to have it, fine. Otherwise, maybe I have to do something else. No, it's not that you have to do something else. You know, perhaps that's the way He wants it to be, that you shouldn't get this job. Right? Perhaps the things need to be the way they are. It's not that you haven't tried everything. Put your trust in Him. Now, for the average person, that's correct, that he should make an effort. At the same time, have his trust in God. But for Yosef, no. Yosef was punished an extra 2 years in jail, the rabbis tell us, because he put too much trust in the Sana Mashkim, in the butler. Or as I think they call it in English, the chamberlain, the one who's in charge of the drinks. And the question is, but why? Why is Yosef punished for trying? You should try any way you can. Make an effort. Trust in Him, but make an effort. Yosef didn't need to do that. On the level of Yosef the righteous, Yosef HaTzadik did not need to ask someone a favor to intercede on his behalf. He should have just turned to Hashem, please get me out of here. But as I once explained, and I saw other commentaries agree with that line of thinking, is that perhaps the mistake that Yosef made was not just to put his trust in the Sana Mashkim. That's just regular hishtadlut. The mistake is that he told the Sana Mashkim, you know, and besides the point, I don't belong here. I didn't do anything wrong here to deserve this. Who are you to say that you don't deserve it? Who are you to say you didn't do anything wrong? You really think you didn't do anything wrong? You don't think you deserve this? You mean this just happened by chance? Don't you think that Hashem did this for some reason? So those were extra words that he should not have said. The complaint was wrong. He should have said, you know what? Do me a favor. I helped you out. You help me out when you can. Say a good word for me. That's perhaps okay. Even then, the commentaries say, the rabbis explain, Yosef didn't need to do that. On the level of Yosef, there was no need to turn to any human being to ask a favor. Just turn to Hashem directly. We also have a tradition that the greater the bitachon is in Hashem, the greater the hashgacha, the divine providence is over him. if somebody really has trust in Hashem, sincerely, he will see open miracles. He will see a greater hashgacha, divine providence over him than others. So it is relative. The hashgacha is relative to how much bitachon one has in God. Next pasuk. Rabot asita, ata Adonai Elohai nifleotecha umachshevotecha elenu, en aroch elecha gida v'adabera atzemu misaper. A little bit of a long pasuk, but basically the translation is like this. Rabot asita, you have done much. Ata Adonai Elohai nifleotecha, your wonders, machshavotecha, and your thoughts, elenu, are for us. En aroch elecha, none or nothing in the world can compare to you. Agida v'adabera, I will relate, I will speak. I would love to say so much about you. But atzemu misaper, all the miracles that I witnessed, that I experienced, are just too numerous to recount. So there's various explanations as to what he's saying over here. First of all, Rabot Asita, you have done so much. And you know what? Everyone can say that. The reason for that is because there's much that we are not aware that Hashem has done for us. Le'oseh niflaot gedolot levadod. There's another verse that says that Hashem performs miracles on His own. What does it mean on His own? No one is aware of it. We don't pay attention. We don't even realize it. Right? We wake up in the morning, we go somewhere, my car, we don't realize perhaps some miracle that happened along the way. We're totally unaware of it. So Rabot Asita, you've done a lot, and a lot of that we are not even aware of. Nifleotecha umachshevotecha elenu, all these wonders are for us. What does that mean for us? That is another tradition that we have. The Midrash brings it down, that a lot of events in the world that occur, even though they don't make sense to us, even though they're in some corner of the earth, it directly affects Israel. It affects the Jewish people. It's for us. Niflotecha machshavotecha elenu. And that is a tradition that we have before Mashiach comes. The world is going to be a mess. All kinds of battles, all kinds of troubles. And Hashem is going to say, this is all for you. This is all in preparation for the redemption. It somehow ties in. It's like a game of chess where the pieces are moving and we don't know what's going to happen at the end. We don't even know how long it will take for the checkmate. But in the end it happens. In the end the game ends. In the meantime, all the moves, wonders, miracles, incredible things, right? You just listen to the news. Some things are incredible, hard to believe. Nifleotecha machshevotecha elenu. They are directed to us for some reason. An example of this, the Midrash brings down with Yitzchak. Remember Yitzchak Avinu, right before he blesses Yaakov, what happened to him? The Torah describes how he became old and he wasn't able to see well. Right after that, he wants to give out blessings. What does one thing have to do with the other? That his eyes became weak? Midrash says, very simple. Why did his eyes become weak? So that Yaakov could go and take the blessing instead of Esav. Even though we know that Yaakov deserves the blessings, and for some reason Yitzchak wanted to bless Esav as well. After all, he's the firstborn. Nonetheless, Hashem wanted it to happen this way, that Yaakov should take away the blessing from Esav. But in order for that to happen in the right way, without Yitzchak being aware of it for some reason, Yitzchak's eyes had to become weak. So you see, an event, for what purpose? So Yaakov can come and take the blessing. And there are many, many things like that in life, that certain things happen because of some other reason, because of something else needs to happen. So one is related to the other. Rabbis also tell us Rabot Asisa in the past. In the past we saw miracles. Just read about all the miracles in the Torah. Just read all the stories that happened with many, many people. Rabot Asita ba'avar, in the past. And therefore we have no doubt that we will also soon experience miracles in our times as well. And that is what we said in Hanukkah. Bayamim ahem, bazman hazeh. That in the same way that you've done it in the past, we believe that you will do it again. It will repeat itself. And that's very important, that we know that. And that is why we talk about it. That is why we celebrate every year during the holidays. We mention the fact that we came out of Egypt, that certain things happened with our forefathers, because that same hashgacha, that same divine providence, those nisim, v'niflaot, those miracles, can happen today, and they are happening. They're just not so visible, and we hope very soon they will become very obvious to everyone, for everyone to see. Next pasuk, zevach u'mincha lo chafatzta. In reality, you don't desire, Hashem, you don't desire not a sacrifice or a mincha, a meal offering. What do you really want? Well, oznaim karitali, you made me ears, you opened up ears for me. Olah v'chata'a lo sha'alta, you did not request an olah or a chata'a, which are sacrifices, a burnt offering, or a sin offering. David HaMelech says, I realize that you would rather us do the right things instead of committing a wrong and then bringing a sacrifice. Very important point here. The metaphor that he uses here, oznaim karitali, you opened up ears for me. What are the ears for? To be obedient to him, to listen to him. Hashem prefers that we listen to him and that we do the right thing, that we obey the mitzvot. He doesn't care about sacrifices so much. Whereas in Christianity, they put an emphasis, oh no, you need to be saved. There's someone out there that needed to be a sacrifice for you to atone for your sins. And we have many, many verses that say no. It's not about atonement. It's about being obedient and doing the mitzvot. Yes, if one made a mistake, not something intentional. For something intentional, there's no sacrifice. A chatat is brought, a kurban chatat. A olah is brought for a positive commandment that was not done. Let's say he didn't put on tefillin one day. A chatat is brought for certain sins that were committed not intentionally, by accident. What's the difference between zevach and mincha and olah and chata? Zevach and mincha are brought just to appease or to please. They're not brought for sins like korban shlamim. And it was to be on Hashem's good side. You would bring a korban todah, korban of thanks, a zevach and mincha. Hashem says, don't think it's about sacrifices. I don't care so much about sacrifices. Lo chafatz, he says, you don't desire them. Oznaim karitali. The main thing is, you've opened up my ears. In other words, you gave me ears with which to listen to you. And that is what really matters, is that one do ma'asim, that one do deeds, and not just bring sacrifices to atone. Next pasuk, Az amarti hine bati b'megillat sefer katuv alai. This is an interesting pasuk because of the words Megillat Sefer. Megillat Sefer means a scroll. In the olden days, the Sifrei Torah were written scroll by scroll. So it's interesting how he puts this into this pasuk. And this pasuk is really connected to what he just said before. Az amarti, then I said that I come with a scroll of the book, the Sefer Torah, written for me, or written about me. What's this all about? Then I said I came, b'Megillat Sefer. Some commentaries say that this is referring to Matan Torah. Since he's talking about being obedient, about observing the mitzvot, he's saying, After all, didn't we commit once upon a time as? We committed already once upon a time. How did we commit when we said Na'aseh v'nishma? We will be obedient. We will do. We will follow. We will listen to all that you have to tell us. So az amarti hine bati, meaning I committed. We committed. How? B'migillat sefer, with the Sefer Torah. Katuv alai, that is written for me or about me, about every Jew, that you will have to keep the Torah mitzvot. You cannot say, well, it was good for my parents and grandparents and I'm not interested. No, you're bound by it. But David HaMelech doesn't use the language here, aleinu. He uses alai, on him. So some commentators say that he's talking about the mitzvah that a king has to write his own Sefer Torah. In other words, this is relating to me as a king too, the Sefer Torah. That I'm instructed to write my own Sefer because of the position of a king, because of his responsibilities. His fear for heaven is something much more sensitive. He has to be in touch with the Torah at all times, at every moment. He has to have his own Sefer Torah. He has to have two, actually. One in his palace and one that goes with him. So he says, yes, I understand the importance of the Torah, and that is why I have it with me, or I committed to it. Hine bati. It's talking about me, the Sefer Torah, he says. Rabbis also tell us, since he says, az amarti, we learn from this that even if one has a thought, and he talks about a thought that he has, that he wants to carry out, he wants to achieve, sometimes he does not achieve it for some reason, he's held back. The thoughts matter too, the thoughts count. If they're positive, Hashem counts them too. He gets some credit for the thoughts. Az amarti. That is the way to begin, by expressing a desire and interest to do something positive. With the help of God, we will do so. We will carry it out one day. But if we don't think about it, we don't talk about it, then there's no trigger. So since a machshava, a thought, is powerful, this is step number one in bringing about a maaseh deed. That is why we get credit for it. And that is insinuated in the words az amarti. Because I said. Therefore, saying something or wanting to do something counts as well. Next pasuk. La'asot retzoncha Elohei chafatzti v'toratecha betoch me'ai. This is also a continuation of the last pasuk. That all he wishes to do is to do the ratzon, the will of Hashem. I desire to fulfill your will, and your Torah is in betoch me'ai, in my innards. What does that mean, in my innards? In order for the Torah to properly be observed forever, continuously, one has to really be committed to it, to the point where the Torah is inside of him. So he says, La'asot retzonecha Elohei chafatzti. I really want to. I desire this very, very much, more than anything else. I always think about it. I always talk about it. And as there are other verses that say pretty much the same thing, that if we always talk about something, it's always on our lips, then we will remember it better. If you don't talk about something, it's just like a language. If you don't practice it, you forget it. So if something is important to you, you want to talk about it. You want to continuously relate to it. That shows that you are chafatzti, that you desire it. So David HaMelech tells us that this is very important to him, and therefore it's betoch me'ai. Betoch me'ai in his innards, meaning that this is part of him. Next pasuk. Bisarti tzedek b'kahal rav. Bisarti means I proclaimed, I announced, I let people know. So here, he goes back to what we said before. David HaMelech says, I'm no longer keeping quiet. I'm no longer containing within myself all what I experienced and went through. This time around, I have so much joy, so much happiness, that I want to share it with others, and I want to let them know. I want to teach them what to do, how to react, what the attitude should be when they go through similar experiences. Therefore, bisarti tzedek, I proclaimed your righteousness. To who? The Kahal Rav, to a big congregation, to a lot of people in public. Hine sefatai lo echla. I will not restrain or limit my lips. I will not hold them back. Adonai ata yadata. You know that. You know how much I want to talk, how much I want to express, how much I want to let people know. I don't want to conceal anything. That's the next pasuk. Tzidkatecha lo chisiti v'toch libi. Your righteousness I did not conceal in my heart. Emunatcha u'teshuatecha amarti. I spoke about, or I declared, your faithfulness, your salvation. Lo chichati chazdecha v'mitecha lekahal rav. I did not hide your kindness and the truth from all these people. So this is not a time to keep quiet. When we make a blessing, agomel chayavim tovot, we do it in public. That's a special blessing when one was in a potentially dangerous situation. In a major trip, he was in a hospital, surgery, he was in prison. He comes out and in public he proclaims, even though he didn't see the miracle yet, even though even though he wasn't exposed to a danger, but there was a potential for danger. He said, thank God for being so kind to me. What did he do? Well, he protected you. Something could have happened. So that's what David HaMelech is saying here. I have so much to say, and I will not hold it back. The right thing is to say it, and to share it with others. When I was in pain and suffering, that I concealed. I didn't want to share it with people. I didn't want them to see what I'm going through. I made a decision that it was best for me to just keep quiet, to not talk about it, to accept it, of course. But this is a time to rejoice. This is a time to share with others what happened to me, how it paid off that I trusted in Hashem. Let people see that it pays off. How will they know? They know what I went through, more or less, and look at me now. Let them, therefore, learn from me as a living example that it pays to trust in God. Therefore, since I did not conceal, since I did not hold anything back, I ask of you the same thing. Don't hold back or restrain your mercy from me. That your kindness and truth should constantly guard me. Yitzeruni means to guard, to protect. Now here, he makes a very important point, that it's not just that we ask for mercy when we are in some predicament, in some difficult situation. Hashem, please have mercy on us. Or be kind to us. He says, Tamid yitzeruni, they should continuously protect me. What that means is that you don't want to fall into trouble to begin with. You don't want to get to that situation and then ask for mercy. You want the protection to be there from before, that you should never become sick, that you should never be in trouble. So you need yitzeruni. You need God's protection for that. And Hashem accords His protection to those who are faithful to Him, to those who are righteous, to those who trust in Him. So David HaMelech is asking that Hashem give him that kind of protection, that he should not hold back his mercy in the same way that he did not hold back from talking about the miracles. And that is our tradition, that if you share your miracles with others, Hashem will make more miracles. Since you're talking about it, you're praising Him, you're describing that He's involved in our lives, then you deserve more miracles. I once asked, what's the purpose of a miracle? Isn't it better not to go through a situation to begin with? When we say Hashem will make a miracle for you, it means that you're going to go through something and a miracle will happen, that you'll be saved. Wouldn't it be better that Hashem just protect us and not make us go through that something, that experience? So what does it mean, miracles? What does it mean that it's something so special that Hashem makes a miracle? What it means is that if you have to go through something anyway, because of some decree, because of your mazal. You're going to go through it regardless. Then at least Hashem, let me see the miracle. I'd love to see your involvement. I'd love to see your hand. I'd love to see how you got me out of it. Most people don't see it. Unless it's obvious, unless somebody has a tumor, a malignant tumor, and it's all over the x-rays, it's very clear, and somehow later it disappears. Okay, that does happen. But a lot of times people don't see their miracles. Hashem performs miracles, but they don't see it. You need a special merit to see the miracle, not just to experience it. Hashem will have mercy. But will I see the miracle? Will I see it happen? That requires a special merit. Next pasuk, Ki afefu alay ra'ot ad en mispar. This is an interesting word, afefu. Afefu is similar to being surrounded with, or perhaps covered up. I would like to translate as hovering. When something hovers over you, it's always there, on top of you. Wherever you go, it goes with you. Because sevavun is to surround you. Well, what if you get away? So afefu is very, very strong. One who's completely overwhelmed, surrounded, covered with ra'ot. He says, afefu alay ra'ot. Ad ein mispar, countless, numerous ra'ot, evils surrounded me. Hisiguni, avonotai, velo yacholti lirot. My sins have overtaken me. They've caught on to me. And I cannot see. There's so many. Atzemu misarot roshi v'libi azavani. They outnumbered even the hairs on my head. That's how many they are. V'libi azavani, and my heart has abandoned me. So some of these words are a little bit cryptic, difficult to understand what he means. The way I interpret it is like this. In reality, when one does teshuvah, when one repents, ideally, he needs to be mefaret. He needs to get into detail and confess what he did. When he does teshuvah, you're doing teshuvah for what? Go ahead and spell it out. Say exactly what you did. It's important. Psychologically, it's also important for one to talk out what he did, to bring it out. But sometimes there are too many. You can't keep track, you don't know, you forgot. That is part of the prayer when we do Hatarat Nedarim, right? We try to release ourselves from certain vows. Which vows? Vows that we can't remember. We don't want them to come after us and accuse us. Wait a minute, you made a vow. Which vow? I don't remember, I don't recall. We don't recall everything. We have to be very careful with vows. Always say Beli Neder. So here he's talking about not vows, but sins. Who knows what we did? We don't remember everything. They're numerous, he says. And as a result of that, a lot of my troubles, hisiguni, they've caught up with me. So he's asking Hashem to consider the fact that he can't recall all of them. And his heart is not with him. What's libi azavani? Libi, the heart, is the kavanah, that a person has to have the proper focus. But he cannot have the 100% focus the way he would like to, because of the many troubles that he was in. So he's asking Hashem to please forgive him the fact that he was not focused properly, that he doesn't remember everything that he did wrong. Therefore, Retzeh Adonai lehatzileni, Adonai le'ezrati chusha. He asks Hashem, may it be your will, may it please you, that you save me. Adonai le'ezrati chusha, hurry to my aid. Chusha, as you recall from last time we said, means to hurry. It's not just fast, like the word maher, it means to hurry up. Retzeh Hashem le'atzileni, what is he adding by saying the words Retzeh? He's still concerned. David HaMelech is always concerned, even though he asks forgiveness, even though he's already done teshuvah. He's not sure 100% if he's completely forgiven. The Rambam spells out, and others also, as to when can one feel more or less confident that his sins are forgiven. There are ways to know. One way is that whatever you did wrong no longer is on your mind. In other words, that desire, that interest, that evil inclination to want to do something is no longer there. Then hopefully you're completely cured from that. If you're always being tempted by the same thing, you're struggling, even though you've asked for complete forgiveness, it's not completely erased. It's still in your memory bank. And it's a problem. One day, God forbid, a person can fall again, can be tempted again and fall. It's not completely gone. It's still there. He hasn't gotten it out of his mind. So David HaMelech is concerned. Perhaps the teshuvah is incomplete. Perhaps things may repeat themselves. After all, he was surrounded by it in the past. Who says they're all gone? So he asks Hashem a special prayer, Retzena, or Retzeh. He asks Hashem, Retzeh Hashem Latzilin, that you should want on your own to help me out, to get me out of this completely. When he says Hatzileni, he's not just talking about he's not talking about from human enemies necessarily, mortal beings. He's talking about the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination too. I ask for that help. Rabbis tell us that this is a very good prayer because you're asking for something quite normal. Help with the evil inclination. And if you ask for that kind of help, you will get it. If you ask for help with financial matters, who says Hashem will give you that help right away? Maybe that's your mazal. It has to be that way. But with spiritual matters, whenever you ask for something spiritual in nature, Hashem answers. He may not answer now, he may answer later. Anything that has to do with spirituality, a mitzvah. Hashem, I want to perform this mitzvah. Imagine somebody saying, Hashem, I want to get married. Only for one reason alone. Because I want to establish a home where you can reside with us, where I can observe your commandments, where we can raise the children to do your will. It's completely focused on Hashem and not on ourselves. That is a much purer prayer. That is much more effective. That is actually a segula for getting married, for those who are having a difficult time. Is to completely focus on the why Hashem wants us to get married, not why I want to get married. A lot of people want to get married because of the companionship, because of the satisfaction, the help, personal reasons and personal needs. If the focus is on what Hashem wants, it has a better chance of being effective. So he says, Retzeh Hashem Latzileni, maybe that your will should be to help me out, even though perhaps my prayer was not complete. Next pasuk, Yevoshu v'yachperu yachad mevakshei nafshi lispotach. Let those who seek to end my life, lispotah means to end it, to terminate my life. Very nice word, but here it's in the context of ending a life, so it's not so nice. But that's what people wanted to do to him. They wanted to end his life. They wanted to cut it short. So he says, let them, yevoshu v'yachperu, let them be humiliated, let them be shamed. Yisogu ahor, let them retreat. V'yikalemu, and let them be disgraced. Those who are chafetzei ra'ati, those who wanted to do him harm. What is he asking for here? He's not asking for revenge. It seems like that. It seems like, let them be embarrassed, all those who wanted to harm me. Let them retreat, those who wanted to cause me harm. He's not cursing anyone. He's not wishing anybody any ill. He's saying that as a result of my miracles, if they become obvious, if you come out and help me, they will all be embarrassed how they were wrong. We've seen this before. David HaMelech does not ask for God to avenge his honor. Let them see the truth and let them be embarrassed themselves that they were wrong. Yisogu achor, they will retreat. Yisogu achor, let them retreat and be humiliated because of what they wanted to do to me. Next pasuk, he is a little bit more descriptive. Yashomu al ekev boshtam haomrim li ach. let those who wanted to be happy for my downfall, let them yeshomu. I think the best translation for yeshomu is let them be dumbfounded. Let them be, another good word for it, let them be puzzled. Let them be astounded, whichever you prefer. Because of what they shamed me, or as a result of their shame, they will be so puzzled as to how things did not turn out the way they thought. Who? Haomrim li he'ach he'ach. Those who said he'ach he'ach. He'ach he'ach is an expression, I think the best way to translate it is to use the German word, Schadenfreude, which means being happy for someone's downfall. It's a special word. When somebody falls, people are happy that he fell. He'ach he'ach. You know, how good that this man has fallen. So let them yeshomu. Some say yeshomu means desolate, but here I think it means more like lishtomem, to be puzzled, to be bewildered. Wow, how did this come out to be this way? And they will be bewildering their own shame, or as a result of the shame they caused others, they will not understand what happened to them. So that's what he's asking. He's asking for them to be shocked into recognizing that they did something wrong. Let them be bewildered as to what has happened from so much shame that they are in. On the other hand, the next pasuk says, Yasisu ve'yismechu becha kol mevakshecha yomru tamid yigdal Adonai ohavei teshuatecha. Let all those who seek you, mevakshecha, let them exalt and rejoice with you. Let those who love you, let those who love your deliverance always say, be exalted, Hashem, Yigdal Hashem, be elevated. So on the one hand, he's asking for the enemies to be dumbfounded, to be puzzled by what happened. On the other hand, he's asking, but those who are mevakshecha, those who seek you, those who love your salvation, let them rejoice and let them be happy. Let them see clearly the miracles and that it paid to trust in you, that you did not let them down, that you've demonstrated that we can count on you. Very important idea, because there are times, unfortunately, throughout our history and even today, when a lot of good people suffer and people wonder, where's God? You know, it really takes a toll on a lot of people's emunah. And this reinforces, hopefully, when people read this and learn it and hopefully adopt it, it will help them to regain that confidence that they may have lost, or to strengthen that faith that has become so weak because of circumstances. Can't blame them. People are not so strong, and that is why it's important to read the Tehilim, hopefully to understand what we're saying, and to read books, stories of tzaddikim, of miracles that have happened to others. This is real. It's not a fairy tale. I know some people want to believe that this is just a bunch of fairy tales, but it's not. 6-Day War was just recent. There's movies about it. There's pictures, videos. In 6 days, to win against so many armies? I mean, what is that? Even the non-Jewish experts say that that's a miracle. There are countless miracles. They're just not all of them available in video. But they're real. Hashem continuously shows His presence through miracles. In the last pasuk of the Perek, Va'ani ani ve'evyon, Adonai, Yachashov li, Ezrati u'mfalati ata Elohai al te'achar. He says, I'm still poor and needy. Doesn't mean he has no money. It means that he doesn't have ma'asim. He doesn't think he has enough deeds. Or maybe he's used them up for all the miracles. He considers himself poor and needy. Therefore he says, Hashem yachashov li. In other words, consider me. Think of me. Even though I don't have enough deeds. After all, I know for a fact that Ezrati u'mfalti ata, I know I'm not exaggerating. I know clearly that you are my rescuer. You are my help. And therefore, Elokai al te'achar, don't delay. David HaMelech is saying, I may need your chesed, I may need your kindness, I may need your mercy, I need your help, even though I'm the king. I know it better than anybody else, no matter who I am. Still, I don't know if I've fulfilled my obligation in doing everything that I need to do to ask for forgiveness or for performing certain mitzvot. Maybe I did not do them 100% right. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, the way I see it, I'm poor. I don't have enough merits, perhaps. Therefore, I'm asking for you to be kind to me, to show mercy to me. And that is what chesed is all about. Chesed means even if you don't deserve something. Hashem oseh chesed. La'alafim, Hashem does many acts of kindness. That's something that we shouldn't forget. It could be that we've made mistakes. It could be that we have not done complete teshuvah. We can still turn to Him and ask for Hashem's chesed. David HaMelech is saying this even though he's a king. A king is a very powerful individual. David HaMelech says, no, even I need this. Even I need this because I'm not so sure that I'm such a righteous person. I'm not so sure that I've done enough. And the rabbis remind us that a person should never think that it's coming to him. That because he's a tzaddik or the son of a tzaddik, and that he perhaps has some merit, that perhaps Hashem will do it for him. No. Never think of yourself like that. Maybe it's just the opposite. You don't know. So always discount it. As that Yaakov Avinu said, "Katonti mikol hachasadim." I'm very, very small. Ze lo magia li, as we say in Hebrew. Maybe this is not coming to me. I don't know. You know, always. It's not being pessimistic. It's always just being on the safe side. That you don't want to use your merits, even if you have them. Otherwise, they take him away they take away from your reward, your sechar in the world to come. You don't want to go into a risky situation and depend on a miracle. Because if they do perform the miracle for you, they take away from your merits upstairs, from your reward. So David HaMelech is saying, Hashem, just consider me, consider my plight, consider my situation, because I've always turned to you and only to you. And for that alone, I ask you to consider me. The segula of this perek, every chapter, as we said all along, has a special power. That if one focuses on this chapter, on that particular chapter, it could be helpful in a certain matter, in a certain situation. This chapter is segula li'natzel meruchot ra'ot, to be protected from all kinds of evil spirits. Now, to some people it sounds strange. There's evil spirits out there? Yes. There are all kinds of evil beings and evil spirits. And they perturb us. They perturb us at night, in the dream. They perturb us sometimes when we're awake. Especially those who are immersed in sin. They have, unfortunately, a whole gang of them that may be after him. So they appear in all kinds of forms and shapes, and we don't have the time to get into that. That's a whole different topic on how they present themselves. But there are people that unfortunately are being attacked by Ruchot Ra'ot, and that presents itself in the form of illness or in some other way. Either way, this perek, and there's others that are very good for that alone. Obviously, one needs to do other things to protect himself if he knows that that's what's going on with him. But prayer, as we've always said, is very powerful. And especially prayers or chapters in Tehilim that are focused on something specific, the more so. And this one, Perek Mem, chapter 40, is especially good as a protection from this kind of situations.